Hey, this is Natalie Callback with Creative Jumpstart 2020. I'm super excited for another interview today, and I have with me the wonderful Nancy Curry, which I met several years ago. I don't know how long ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago, at an art event where we both were teaching, and it was super fun to get to know her, and I love her artwork. She does a lot of really, really cool abstract and sometimes very whimsical things too. And I know her actually from many, many years ago, where she had written a wonderful, very informative Bible, which was about rubber stamping. And if you know me, you know I love rubber stamping, texture, and all kinds of stuff. So, but without further ado, I want to welcome Nancy and give her the chance to introduce herself. Hi, Nancy.
Well, hello there, and thank you so much for having me. And wow, the Bible. I love that you use that word. Um, Very proud of that book still. But
You should be.
so what is there to know about me? I used to teach language arts, and then I had a baby back in '93. And about 2 years later, I walked into a rubber stamp store. I'd never seen a rubber stamp. I had no idea what they were. But somebody showed me embossing with gold powder. And I was like, this is so cool. I need to know how to do this. And so that sort of jump started my move into um, a lot of stamping, a lot of experimenting. And then all of a sudden, I'm working at a rubber stamp store part time with a toddler. And I quickly became the teacher for the store. Not necessarily did I want to teach the stamping part of it, but I loved playing with mediums.
Hmm.
So I was building my empire or whatever, and then we were transferred. And so we moved away, and I had a 6 year old by that time, and she went to school all day, and I was sad mommy. So I played all day long. She would leave at 8, come home at 3:30. I would play all day long at my little tiny desk upstairs. And then we moved again. And I ended up back in Cincinnati. I'd already lived there before she was born. And there was a really good rubber stamp store there. So I started teaching for them, and I started sending things to Somerset Studio, and I got published. And then I had the most wonderful thing happen to me, a very selfless thing. Mary Jo McGraw, who had done probably 6 or 7 books for my publisher, asked if she could take some of my card. Back then, it was card making. She asked if she could take my cards somewhere. Can I look at these tonight? And you don't say no to Mary Jo McGraw. I mean, back then she was the guru, and so she took them to who was to become my publisher.
Nice.
And I got a phone call within 24 hours.
Wow.
And basically, she got me my book deal. I would never have done it. I would never have done it.
That's
I
amazing.
think, when you're a kid, let me go back. There's 10 years between my sister and I. My parents, all of a sudden, they were having another baby. I'm not sure if they wanted me or not. I think they did. But they wanted me to be doing things, so they put me in every activity that
Hmm.
you could have. One of them was art. So for 4 hours every Saturday, all year round, I did art. And I decided I was the best artist that had been born in 1961. I mean, I was totally awesome. And then I mean, as a kid, you think
Yeah, yeah,
everything
I
you
know,
do is
I know.
awesome.
Right.
And so after seventh grade, we moved, and I was able to take an elective for the first time. Like, we had art once a week. Some lady brought a card in. All of a sudden, I could take art. So I got into that class. I thought I was quite something, because at that point I'm 14, so I am quite something. And I got a C. It did not go well. And I stopped doing art until I walked into that rubber stamp store after she was born. So that's kind of my backstory. I kind of continued in the rubber stamping industry up through we'll say 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided I wanted to paint. It was very hard for me to actually paint because I kept seeing the sea.
Mm.
I know I was judged. I was judged pretty harshly. And that really destroyed that part, of feeling like I could do something.
Mm-hmm.
See, with a rubber stamp, I didn't have to draw. I didn't have to do anything. So I started painting in 2011. I've sold quite a few of my prints. I started with, you start with what you know. So I started with houses. So I did whimsical street scenes, and then I moved. Then I was like, I want to learn about abstracts. I don't know anything about abstracts. So it's kind of been an interesting journey. And it's not done. I got more to learn, and I'm still excited about it.
I can totally see that. And I think one of the things, and let me know if you agree to it, that I love about now being older and doing art again is that it's actually that I know so much that this is for me, that even if sometimes there is critique and people say things that are hurting or they totally hate what you're doing, which is, you're like, that's fine. You don't have to love my stuff. That's okay. There will be someone who likes it, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that I enjoy what I'm doing and that I like it, right?
I totally agree.
There's no C. The C is not important. If the C is coming from someone else, it's not that important anymore, I think. It's like done. But yeah, how interesting that these little things can crush people in such young age doing something that's creative, right? It's just sad, actually. I think there should be no grades on that in school.
I agree. I totally agree. It's been interesting because I think that's what made me a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Well, besides being the language arts teacher, but when I went over into the art, I want people, when they come to my class, I want them to know they can do it too.
Right.
And we don't do cookie cutter classes. My classes are really technique based, and they just play and explore.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to watch them get confident. I love to watch them love what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I still do it. I don't love the travel.
Right.
But I love
neither.
all the other stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, that's actually really interesting because I wanted to ask you, I will come back to that, but let me first ask you, so this year's theme, every year we have a theme for those of you who haven't seen any of the other interviews or have never been to Creative Jumpstart. Come and join us. But how it works is I send out a theme every year to the teachers, and it's very generic, and then they have can make a video that's about 10 minutes long. So this year's theme is going to be superpower, your artistic superpower. What is Nancy's artistic superpower? And if your real life superpower is different, what is your real life sounds stupid, non-artistic superpower? Right. If that's different, what is it?
I think it's my willingness to try new things on a daily basis, and not having to have an end game every time I walk in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled with that at the very beginning because I wasn't doing a job. I wasn't like, what am I really doing? I was staying at home. I had a child.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and actually when my book did come out, I signed all of my, when I went for the book signings, I signed them all, play all of the time. Because play, that, for an artist, play is where it all happens.
Right.
And so I'm willing to, let's see if I can use pan pastels with alcohol inks and like which should go on first. I do a lot of that. It sort of coincides with my non-artistic superpower. I live in the now. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now but there's a double-edged sword to living in the now. I can sit there and play for 8 hours on 1 inch of space because I get very focused on what's going on. But I am in the moment with the, well, in my daily life as a wife and a mother and whatever else I do, I tend to not worry ahead. I'm very present. So, however, that can put me behind. I can run late for an appointment. I can forget, well, like dinners. I don't know what we're having tonight. I'll decide at 5 o'clock. And do I sort of make it work? Yes.
Yeah.
I have a very type A daughter that it's just driving her nuts, because she wants everything orchestrated. I don't orchestrate. Now, I will say that when I teach, everybody gets a handout. I follow the handout. Everything's presented because I know that there's other type A people out there. So I think that's mine. And I'm a people person. I love people.
Yeah.
And I really, I think it's really important to love people and raise them up. I get risen when I raise other people up.
Exactly.
So I know that's some sort of a quote, but I do believe there's room for everybody at the table.
Exactly.
And so.
Yeah, I think you really do have to love people. Otherwise teaching is not good. If you don't like people, then maybe do something else, right? But right. I think like there's so much that I can also get back from just the interaction with people, especially in person. I mean, we're doing an online class here, and that's amazing. And it's just because you can't get everyone. That would be like my ultimate goal would be someday we have a Creative Jumpstart retreat, and a huge thing, and all the teachers that have ever taught for Creative Jumpstart could teach there, and people could come from all over the world. That would be the ultimate, amazing thing, right? So, but
yeah. It would be.
Huh?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I just met someone who organizes conventions. I don't know, but it could be something to put out in the universe. Sometimes you have to do things like that, right? So,
exactly.
But that's a cool superpower to have. And living in the now is important. I think that's great, and a lot of people have struggle with that too, and they are so worried about what's happening. And also, that's a great superpower for art because it's like, I will see what I do when it happens, and that's actually a good recipe for exploring and playing and finding new ways of using media and doing techniques. So we just talked about it a little bit before, that you were a language art teacher, and I'm sure that making handouts and having all the structure and organization for your classes, that career comes in handy. But is there anything else that you think you took from your experience as a language teacher to what you're doing now?
I would have to say it's my love of wordsmithing and just words in general. Most people that have taken my classes, words are involved in some way. I have a few abstracts that there's no words on, but I absolutely love to find quotes, find interesting quotes. I've worked with several of the modern poets that are online, and they love it when I illustrate their words, and I love their words. I'm a huge fan. I'm a Mary Oliver fan, Atticus. I mean, I don't know. I can't wordsmith that way, but I love, it just raises my art. So a lot of times it's on I have a particular kind of art, Citra Solv art, that I tend to use a lot of words. And in that regard, at some point, like in 2012 or 13, I did my own line of rubber stamps that are hand lettered, but they're odd words like mumbo jumbo and, oh golly, they're all. I mean, it's not like you're believe and kind of the regular ones that were done from so many people, Curiouser and Curiouser.
Yeah.
I love putting those on my art. So, but I think that's from my love of the language, and I'm a big reader.
Mm-hmm.
So I love to read other people's words, and I love lyrics. I'm a huge music. I love music and lyrics. You know, you can take apart a song and it may not be what they intended, but you internalize the meaning. So when I put words on my art, what I've found is it speaks to people in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I take out of my first career.
That's so cool. It's interesting to me that we have so many artists in the mixed media world that actually come from a different career. I think it's very, I don't know, special maybe to what we are doing, that you can ask almost every person, whether it's, you have been a teacher. I think Mary Beth Shaw was in finance before. So was Jody All. Julie Pfeiffer-Balzer was a theater director and studied theater, drama. Like everyone has this like different career, which I think is just so amazing that we all kind of found this outlet and this way of, communicating through art making and hopefully bringing other people the possibility to explore their own creative minds as well. So, wow, that was a long sentence. So I know that you work, I love your work, especially with alcohol inks and Citra Solv. Two different things. So you make some really stunning artwork with it. And in fact, I'm not sure I think that's a drawing. I'm not sure. I see something behind you that's in a black frame in 4 pieces. Is that a drawing?
Yeah. Yes, that's mine. Actually, most of the stuff behind me is other artists.
Oh, that's cool.
But I do have one thing that's mine. So yeah, that's a little bit more representational. And actually, it came from an online class with Jody Ohl.
Oh, how fun!
So, however, mine ended up not like I kind of went on my own.
Yeah,
which I need to do with the classes. But I love working in neutrals, and that's my sister's a framer.
Oh, so, I see. Very cool.
That's and I just brought it back, so it just got put there. It's going to go on the wall somewhere, but
so that's very cool. But when you work with these media like the alcohol ink, and when I say like you work with alcohol ink, it's very fluid and very organic and abstract, as well as with your Citra Solv. Can you explain a little bit what Citra Solv is or what you do with it, not in detail, but so that people, especially from Europe, which I don't know maybe right away what this means and what you do with it, just in like a couple sentences, and what is so appealing for you to work with it?
Okay, well, I absolutely love it. I wandered into a gallery in 2014 and saw something on the wall that I bought for my sister. And I met the artist and I said, "What is this?" And she said, "Oh, this is Citra Solv. I just started using it." And I was like, "What is that? I don't know anything about I something had gotten by me." Three months later, I taught at Art and Soul. And Kathy Taylor was teaching a Citra Solv class. I didn't take it because I was teaching. But I was like, oh, I've had the second touch now. First, I gave my sister the one painting, and then people seemed to like it, so I had to go out and buy Citra Solv. It's actually a solvent. That it's a natural solvent, non-toxic. And what you do with it, the sweet spot is to find the decades. I have particular decades that may be different than other people's decades. But you use the solvent to dissolve the National Geographic pictures. It works best. And then some people leave it in an organic form and frame from there, which the one I bought was like that. But I take it, okay, this is where I get very excited. I take it and create new art.
Yeah.
So I work subtractively on it. a lot of times. Little additive, but a lot of subtractive, which actually coincides with what I do on alcohol with alcohol inks. I pour all the color on and I create by taking everything off.
Right.
So both of these technique, both of these mediums and art forms, I'm going at it the same way. So
it's so
but
cool.
Why do I love it? I love it because it's not a blank white piece of paper that I'm starting with.
Mm-hmm.
And every piece is different. So every piece is a new beginning.
Yeah.
And for 3 years, I did one Citra Solv. Like when I would walk into my studio, it was my warm up. I would pull a piece of paper out of a stack and have to do something with it. And it's very interesting because you have the organic marks from where the inks have liquefied and moved. And so then you start playing around with it. You see the shadows. It's really a great primer for working on composition because, you can use all of the elements on it. That's what I like about it.
That's so cool.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, I know. And I love how you phrased it that it does something already for you. It's kind of like actually almost in a more exciting way than when I do art journal pages, but I bind them from something that was like a mop-off pages or
Yes.
like, leftover junk paper where I had already stenciled something or whatever, and then I bind that to an art journal, and then I start my art journal on a non-white page, and sometimes I just cover it up, and sometimes what's already there leads me to something else. So that's really cool. So that's amazing. You should, if you are watching this interview, and I hope we're not alone. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, the cat's here.
Yeah, right, exactly. We're not alone. But you should definitely follow Nancy on Instagram. She posts all her artwork, or maybe not all her artwork, but she posts a lot of her artwork on her Instagram page. Where do they find you? What is your handle?
Okay, Nancy Curry Art.
That's easy. So go and find her, follow her, and look at her wonderful postings. And sometimes you also actually include some quotes that you found and that you like with your artwork. So it's very, very inspiring. And when you scroll into her Instagram page, I'm sure you will be inspired right away. So go and do that. So I know you like all these things that are new and explore things. What is an art form or a material that you maybe have dabbled into but haven't, or maybe haven't, that you would like to explore more and incorporate in your artwork?
Okay, well, funny you should ask that. I'm very excited about this too. Echo dyeing.
Oh, wow, yes.
I would love to echo dye. In fact, I am going in November to take a weekend retreat to learn how to echo dye.
Nice.
So it fits in, again, with the organic. It fits in. I could see myself doing words. I just think it's going to be great. I really love nature these days. So I want to kind of get into it. I probably could have taught myself on my own, but I'm very excited to be going to this little retreat.
That's so cool. That sounds so awesome. Here in New York City, they have a place, it's called the Textile Art Center, and they do some fabulous workshops as well. And echo dyeing is on their curriculum very often, and I have it on my bucket list to do it, because I'm probably never ever gonna do, because I'm not a sewer, so I'm not really sure but just for the fun of it, just like making it, I think, or just for art journal covers or whatever. I see that myself, but I love the look of it, and just thinking that you have different material, like organic materials, that you can get these gorgeous colors and patterns out there. That's so intriguing. How cool. I can't wait to see how you incorporate that later.
I have no idea, but I'm big on visual texture, so
yes.
I can the whole layering thing of it just sets me on fire. So I'm very excited.
I've just seen something on Instagram. I forgot. If I find it, I will actually send it to you. Sorry, listeners. I forgot the name of the person on Instagram. She's a printer, but she just did something where she echo printed a piece of fabric, and then she started layering on top hand carved stems, and then she started layering on top stencils, and then she cut the pieces up, and then she made like little pillows out of it. And I was like, that's fun, because it incorporated all the other things that I love too. And it was all in this gorgeous colors, and then on top it was very soft but yet so beautiful. It was beautiful. I was like, when I find it, I will send it to you. So
awesome! Oh, I can't wait to see that.
Sorry, dudes. So I'm super excited to have Nancy. It was wonderful talking to her. And I hope you will sign up for Creative Jumpstart and see what she will show in her videos. Sign up through Nancy's link. She will appreciate it. And we're going to have fun seeing you in the classroom. Thank you again, Nancy, for being part of Creative Jumpstart, and also for chatting a little bit with me. That was fun. And see you soon.
All right. Anytime.
Bye.